He sent me a picture showing off his muscles after a shower, but what hit me like a stone was what I saw in the corner of the mirror. My name is Emily. Before I begin, tell me where you're listening to this story from. I'd love to send a greeting to your city. In November, during a business trip, my husband sent me a picture after his shower. In it, he was shirtless, pointing the camera toward the mirror above the sink. He was showing off his body to me, but I immediately noticed that my body wash had been moved. I stared at the bottle, my heart racing, but my hand still replied with a laughing emoji. There was another woman in my house using my body wash, but at that moment, I couldn't rush back, and I didn't want to tip him off. What if I was wrong? In mid-December, I had another business trip, but this time I came back earlier than planned. Seeing that he wasn't home, I called him. He said he was at a bar with some close friends, so I headed straight to the downtown bar we used to go to together. Sure enough, he was there with his friends, sitting near the window, the whole group loud with laughter. But what I saw made every sound around me vanish. My husband, holding another woman tightly, the same one he had always told me was like a sister. Their lips locked as if the world only belonged to the two of them. I stood behind the liquor shelf by the entrance, listening to the cheers echo through the bar, rage making me shake uncontrollably, every cell in my body screaming, "Go! Go tear those liars apart!" My husband, Alex Thompson, he is my first love. I'm not the pretty girl type. Before Alex, no one had ever pursued me. When he started flirting, on the outside, I pretended to be aloof, curling my lip like I was weighing a product. But inside, I was secretly thrilled, so grateful my heart pounded. I only pretended to hesitate for one night, then I said yes. We got together quickly, and I poured myself into it, cooking, caring, because I knew he still carried Olivia in his heart. I had secretly looked at her photos. She really was prettier than me. Glossy hair, a radiant smile that made me feel small. For more than a year, Olivia kept breaking up with one boyfriend after another, then running to Alex in tears. He, the longtime backup guy, took her out every day, comforted her, and stayed on the phone late into the night. I wasn't happy inside. My stomach twisted every time I saw her messages, but Alex swore, gripping my hand and assuring me, "Trust me, Olivia is just like a sister now." I clenched my teeth and swallowed my anger, because he was right. I had to keep the faith. Olivia kept calling me her bestie, laying on the praise, sometimes admiring my talent in the industry, sometimes saying I was outstanding, good at keeping my husband. "Alex treats you so well," she beamed, and slowly those compliments softened me. Plus, she really was beautiful. Standing next to Alex like Beauty and the Beast, I thought I was overthinking it and let my guard down completely. Last month, when we got our marriage certificate, Olivia even invited the two of us to dinner, raised a glass, and blessed us. The luckiest thing is that through Alex, I got to meet a bestie like you. I smiled back, warmth in my chest, thinking everything was fine. And yet now, what is this? My heart cinched tight, like someone was squeezing it. I drew a deep breath, tried to steady myself, and took out my phone. I snapped nonstop, zoomed in close on that kiss, clear evidence. Everything needs proof, whether divorce or court. I had to have something in hand. I couldn't let them deny it. I couldn't end up empty-handed. Leaving the bar, my legs felt heavy, but I didn't cry. I went to the place next door, chose a hidden corner, facing the other bar's door, and ordered a whiskey on the rocks. Glass in hand, ice clinking, I stared at the entrance. More than an hour later, the two bastards were wrapped around each other again, getting into the same taxi. I hurried to call another taxi, told the driver to follow. Unexpectedly, they went straight to my and Alex's house. The house we bought just for the marriage, moved into for less than half a year. The humiliation was bare and raw, like a blade to the heart. In the taxi, my nails dug deep into my skin, blood seeping without pain. My eyes burned red with anger, my head spinning with images of charging in and ripping the two of them apart, catching them in the act, screaming out all my resentment. But reason whispered, if I rush in now, at most it's just divorce. They won't be hurt at all. They might even team up to accuse me in return. Miss, we've arrived? The driver asked, his voice drowsy. I swallowed, my voice steady. Gave the address of the nearest hotel. I needed time to think carefully about the next step, where their weak spots were. The phone buzzed on the hotel table. The screen lit up with the words, Hubby Love. I stared at it, my hands pausing above the laptop keys. The suitcase I had left in the living room last night still hovered in my mind, like a reminder of the house I once thought was a home. I rubbed my face, took a deep breath, trying to wash away the tightness in my chest before pressing answer. Honey, where are you? I didn't see you at home. I just got back from the bar, drank a little too much. Alex's voice was tired, slightly slurred, smooth as if rehearsed on stage. I'm back at the newsroom, I replied, deliberately sharp. There's a problem with the special report. The whole team is working overtime. No idea when we'll finish. I bit my lip, holding back the flood, when I thought of him holding Olivia in our house. Enough. I don't want to talk. I'm furious. Alex chuckled softly, his tone sweet as honey. Then just focus on your work. I'll wait for you. He hung up. I laughed too, but it was cold, bitter. Wait for me? Wait how, when he was rolling around with Olivia on my bed? The hotel room was silent, only the hum of the air conditioner. Last night, when they walked into the house, they must have seen the suitcase I'd left behind. Shocked, weren't they? Good. The house was mine, paid for with my sweat and tears. Why should I sleep in a hotel while they lounged in my space? That night, I didn't sleep. My mind spun. I opened my phone, replaying the photos of them kissing, then the video from the taxi that followed them home. Each frame was a knife, but also a bullet in my hand. The next morning, I stood before the mirror, brushing my teeth, washing my face, eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. The phone rang again. Alex. Are you done with work? Love you. Don't forget to rest. His voice was sugary, just like always. In the mirror, I rolled my eyes, wanting to scream. Is her scent still on my pillow? But I held back, answering lightly. Just finished. Having breakfast with colleagues before heading back. At 10 in the morning, I returned to the apartment complex, but not straight to the unit. Instead, I went to the management office. Something's missing from my place, I told the staff calmly. Could I see the floor camera footage? She knew me, kindly ushered me into the monitoring room, giving me a computer of my own. I had come prepared, with a list. Every business trip over the last 6 months, dates and times clear. Sitting at the screen, I scanned each clip, my heart thudding. They had no shame, not even through the door before kissing, clinging like I didn't exist. The cameras only saved the recent days, but enough for me to find 4 clips. Alex and Olivia, affectionate, hand in hand, entering my home. I plugged in a USB, copying it quietly when no one was watching. Only after that did I return to the apartment. The place was spotless, as if nothing had happened. Windows wide open, sheets neatly folded, trash bin empty. My suitcase was arranged, dirty laundry in the washer, clean clothes hung in the closet. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes the night before, I might have thought Alex was the picture of a thoughtful husband. I sat on the sofa, iPad resting on the armrest. Alex liked playing Fortnite. His messenger was always logged in. I opened his chat with Olivia. They had wiped it clean, but not carefully enough. The messages were all about dinners, many on nights I was also there, as if designed to cover their tracks. I sneered, switched to Venmo. No matter how careful, money doesn't lie. Transfers nonstop, big and small, hourly hotels, sex toy shops, malls, flower shops, bakeries. They met often, living it up beyond anything I had imagined. I filmed everything with my phone, careful not to leave a trace. Then I opened the trading app. I'm a financial journalist for the Wall Street Journal. I know plenty of people in the field, and I've made good money from stocks. Alex only knew how to trade because I taught him. I had created the accounts and passwords. He had never changed them. I exported the trade history, filmed each line. The house was my premarital asset, but our spending since marriage was murkier. With these statements, it was all clear. Alex's income went into stocks, and the rest went to Olivia. The cruelest part, through 2 years of living together, I had shouldered nearly all the living expenses. My mother had always reminded me, women must be financially independent to be secure in marriage. But the reality was harsher. A man spends money on the one he loves most, and all of his money went to his mistress. At 3 in the afternoon, Alex called me. His voice came through when I picked up, sweet as if he hadn't just kissed Olivia inside our house. "Did you get enough rest? Let's eat out tonight." I bit my lip, holding back the fury rising in my chest. "Anyone else coming?" I asked, my tone deliberately light, as if it were just a casual question. "Just us." Alex paused, like he was considering. "Olivia said it's been a while since she's seen you. Should I invite her too?" Olivia Hayes. His ex-flame. Her name stabbed into my heart like a knife. "Fine," I answered, my lips curving into a forced smile. "By the way, I have a gift for her, but don't tell her in advance. It'll ruin the surprise." Alex laughed loudly, asking why I hadn't bought something for him. I laughed along, though inside was pure contempt. "Of course I did. The thing you love most. I'll give it to you tonight." He kissed through the phone, a sound that once warmed me, now only made my stomach twist. Hanging up, I sat frozen, eyes fixed on the phone screen. Rest? How could I rest when my insides were burning, every cell seared with rage? I shot up in a rush, opened my contacts, and dialed Sarah Jenkins, my best friend in the police force. I gave her a quick rundown, my voice shaky but steady enough, then asked, "Besides online, where can I buy surveillance devices? I need it fast." Sarah gave me the address of a shop in the electronics district, but her tone was tense. "Emily, wiretapping is illegal. Evidence like that won't hold up in court." I nodded, though she couldn't see. "I know. I'll be careful. I just want to place it inside my own home." Sarah reminded me again. Fines weren't the real risk, a criminal record was. I only muttered, "Yeah," then hung up. I rushed into the bathroom, cold water crashing down my face, trying to wash away the humiliation. I put on makeup, chose the red dress. Alex had once said he loved it. But today, it was armor. The Italian restaurant we always went to as a couple was the place we agreed on. I sat across from Alex and Olivia, the smile on my face stiff like a mask. I handed Olivia her gift, a lipstick and a handmade balm from Etsy. The bug, tiny and discreet, I had carefully tucked into the core of the balm. "I made this balm myself," I said softly. "During a business trip, I had half a day off, learned how to make a few." Olivia clutched my hand, rubbing like a cat, showering me with praise. "You're amazing, both brilliant with stocks and so crafty." The lipstick made her eyes glow. "I don't even have this shade. You're so stylish." Alex watched, pretending to be jealous. "You treat Olivia better than me." Olivia pouted, glancing at him. "Of course." They laughed. But to me it was nothing but a performance. I watched Alex order food. So many details. When you trust someone you don't notice them. But once trust collapses, every little thing turns suspicious. He ordered Olivia's favorite first, grilled salmon, then his steak, and only last, what I liked. I cursed myself for being blind, letting Olivia take precedence without guarding my place. Halfway through the meal, they asked about my business trip, then shifted to stocks. With Christmas coming, Any good picks? Olivia asked, her eyes sparkling. Before, I had given them tips, and every time they profited. Tonight, I sipped my wine, answered slowly. It takes research. Regular buys only match the market. You need to find short-term surges, catch the big swings. They lit up with delight, grinning ear to ear, as if I were still the fool willing to hand them everything. I smiled along. The Louis Vuitton wallet lay on the table, the light glinting off its glossy leather, far fancier than Alex's old one. He sat beside me, lips curled in a satisfied smile, as he carefully transferred each card from the old wallet to the new. Emily, I thought you only cared about Olivia. You treat her too well, he said, his tone joking, but the look in his eyes behind it was weighing me, measuring me. From where Alex sat, slightly behind me, I could feel his gaze on my back. If this were before, I might have thought he was touched, but now I only found it ridiculous. No doubt in his mind he was thinking, she's a fool. Alex wrapped his arms around me from behind, his breath hot on my neck. You're so good to me, he whispered. Inside, disgust surged, mixed with weariness, like touching something filthy. I never cared how many women he had before marriage, but now, as my husband, to cheat was unforgivable. I pushed half a peeled apple toward him, my voice soft. Eat this, then shower. Maybe he misunderstood, thinking it was some subtle hint, because he quickly gobbled it down, muttering, Tonight's going to be unforgettable. I smirked, calmly savoring the other half, while slipping the bug neatly into the wallet's inner pocket. The wallet only held his ID, social security card, and a few bank and membership cards he rarely touched. I wasn't worried about being caught. The device only needed a few days. Once the battery died, it could be tossed. I hadn't installed the control app on my main phone. Yesterday, I bought a used phone, shipped directly to my newsroom, under my name. Back then, I didn't realize that slipping the device into his wallet was the first domino. Each piece falling would open a Pandora's box, exposing the cruelty of people, like demons crawling from the abyss. The package with the phone was waiting at the security desk at work. I rushed into my small office, locked the door, put on headphones, my heart pounding. The sound from the device came through, shockingly clear. To my surprise, Olivia didn't only have Alex, she had another boyfriend. Last night, she went to his place. Ragged breathing, raw sounds of sex, broken up with bits of dialogue filled my ears. Olivia's voice whined. When will you introduce me? She complained. I've never met your friends. The man, mid-thrust, spoke coldly, words like a knife. My family doesn't approve. I need time. He said his family demanded a marriage within their class. I laughed aloud, dry and sharp. The princess Alex pampered turned out to be nothing but a passing mistress to another rich man. I checked the tracker on my phone, his high-end apartment, the kind only the wealthy could afford. Olivia sobbed. What am I to you? Just a fling? He soothed her, honeyed voice. My company's just a startup. Flashy outside, but only pulling in a few million a year, nothing compared to my family's wealth. He promised, when his career took off, Olivia would be the only woman by his side, with a Maserati as her wedding gift. Maserati. He kept spinning the fantasy, repeating the word blockchain. I curled my lip. As a financial journalist, I'd researched Bitcoin, interviewed blockchain firms in Silicon Valley. What he said was empty talk, confused over even the basics of finance, offering nothing of value. Olivia was being conned, but she was blind, just as I had once been blind with Alex. I sat still in that room, headphones pressing my ears, Olivia's sobs fading to silence. They thought I was still the fool, but I had seen the truth. Alex, Olivia, the rich man, they were all pawns in a game of their own making. I sat in my office, the door locked, my hands trembling as I switched the signal toward Alex. This morning, as soon as he got in the car, Alex had called Olivia. The sound was crystal clear, cutting into me like a knife. So ugly. Every morning when I wake up, I'm startled. Alex's voice rang out, full of contempt. Hayes, I only get through each day because of you. Thinking about staying with her for a few more years, I can't take it. Olivia giggled, her sweetness like poison. Then let's meet at the usual spot this noon, okay? Think about her money and those houses. Just endure it a bit more. Later I'll reward you plenty. Alex gave a quick, yeah, excited. You know exactly what I like. She answered, seductive. Of course I do. My love, I'll wear the outfit you picked. Their flirting, their laughter filled my headphones, but in my chest, a fire erupted like a volcano, violent, uncontrollable. My eyes throbbed, like I'd been punched square in the face. This was the man I chose as my husband? My pride, in this moment, was being trampled into the mud, shredded apart. I clenched my fists. The house is mine. The money is mine. The talent for investing in stocks is mine. And yet they dared to scheme for all of it? I called Sarah Jenkins, my best friend in the police force. Just minutes later, she knocked on my office door. I opened it, and she froze, her eyes scanning my face. What happened? Alex again. Without a word, I handed her the headphones and replayed the recording. Sarah listened, her face flushed, her hands shaking. Bastard! Trash! Absolute filth! She shouted, then turned to me, her voice urgent. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? I repeated. This isn't just cheating, not just mocking me as ugly. Alex said outright he'd only stay with me a few years. Olivia mentioned money, my houses. I paused, breathing deeply, trying to cage the flames in my chest. This marriage, from the start, was a calculated game. Sarah frowned, still clutching the headphones tightly. Your houses? You mean the ones in town? I nodded. My parents only had me as their daughter. In town, the family owned 3 houses, and 2 were under my name. They were aiming for both. On the way back, I bought some medicine, enough to make me look like I was having an allergic reaction. Returning home, I pretended to cough violently. Told Alex my allergies were severe. I couldn't sleep in the same bed. Every night, I moved to the living room, clutching a pillow, eyes wide open in the dark. Alex didn't care, even seemed relieved not to face me. But I knew he, the man with endless needs, couldn't endure the emptiness at night. Every day, he ran to Olivia. Olivia juggled between the 2 men. With Alex, she was the true love, weeping that his marriage to me broke her heart, insisting she only wanted to make money so they could be together. With the wealthy heir, she was the dreamy girl, trying to prove herself worthy by asking me and Alex about limit-up stocks. She was desperate for money, very desperate, to invest in his company, dreaming of being his partner, his girlfriend, entering his family's Christmas banquet. And Alex, he was moved by her sweet words, that afternoon skipping work to drag her into a hotel. He even texted me, "Working late tonight, don't wait up." Meanwhile, the wealthy heir was busier still. He was a player, a seasoned one, with a harem of girlfriends, of all ages, all styles. He built the image of the rich young master, living in a villa, driving luxury cars, gifting high-end cosmetics and designer handbags. Each of his women dreamed of attending his family's grand holiday party, of becoming his special one. But he always had excuses. The company needed to expand, the tax evasion investigation, a failed land investment. He claimed he was short on money, making the women compete to invest, to loan him funds, clinging to the promise, "This Christmas I'll introduce you to my family." He was a professional con artist. My first instinct was to go to the police, but the second instinct was stronger, to use this man to destroy Alex and Olivia. And in the end, I chose selfishness. To catch a fish, first you have to throw the bait. I carefully picked out 5 short-term stock picks, introduced them to Alex and his mistress, then deliberately let them see me put all the money in my investment account into those stocks. Olivia looked at the balance, her eyes lit up. "Emily, you're so rich!" she exclaimed, her admiration fake, pretending to be naive as she counted the zeros at the end. If only I had met you earlier. I smiled brightly, answering, meeting earlier wouldn't have changed anything. When I first started trading, I lost so much I couldn't even afford bread. Only recently, with the market booming, I managed to make a little. Alex slung his arm around me, a smug smile on his face. The house we live in now, Emily earned it from stocks. I lowered my head, feigning modesty, then reminded them, don't hold too long, sell once you get 20 to 30%. After Christmas, it gets risky. They both nodded like puppets, especially Olivia, her eyes sparkling as if she were seeing gold. I knew this was her moment, saving money before the holidays to invest in her rich lover, dreaming of becoming his partner, his girlfriend, squeezing her way into his family's party. I glanced at her, lips curling into a smile. You're both beautiful and smart. Surely you'll snag yourself a rich man someday. She lifted her head, her eyes full of confidence, as if it were destiny. Being a billionaire is even better than marrying one, Olivia teased, flattering Alex. But Emily, you're the best. I shook my head, speaking softly. I'm not even middle class. Then I told stories about girls who married into wealth, one who worked her whole life just to buy a house, one who agonized over whether to buy a handbag. But for them, it's just about liking it or not. No calculations needed. Money means nothing to them. Olivia's eyes glazed over, lost in that fantasy. Her weakness was money, just as my weakness had once been the hunger for love. When choosing a boyfriend, keep your eyes wide open, I said, staring straight at Olivia. If you meet a good one, hold on tight. The corners of Alex's mouth sagged. He gripped his wine glass tightly, trying to hide his feelings. What's the point of talking about this? He muttered, nudging me with his elbow. I glanced back at him, voice calm. Aren't we just worrying about your little sister? Then I carried on, as if casually. Back in high school, I had a classmate who was ordinary, but in college she dated a businessman's son. After graduation, she invested with him, and now when our group travels, she pays for everything herself. To her, money is just numbers. Olivia bit her lip, her eyes shining with ambition. I knew the seed I planted was sprouting. She dreamed of marrying rich, and my stories only made that seed grow faster. Alex cut in, his tone sharp. That's because she had an eye for it. She knew how to invest. I countered immediately. But she had to find a boyfriend with real power first. They grow up in that world, with opportunities we ordinary people don't have. Alex grumbled, irritated. All you ever think about is money. I pursed my lips, pretending to brush it off. Oh, I'm only joking. Olivia, when it comes to marriage, money is secondary. What matters is being gentle, caring. Like my Thompson here. Olivia smiled, glancing at me, then at Alex. I could tell she was comparing in her mind. A man who took her to bed every other night. How could he ever treat her well? Gentle, caring. All of it was a lie. My words worked like a drug. If even ordinary men cheat, then why not choose one with money to cheat with? The stocks I picked behaved obediently, like pets, soaring far beyond the market index. I held them for exactly 1 week, then sold everything, pockets full of cash. Before selling, I messaged Alex and Olivia. Don't get greedy, sell now. The market's prone to corrections these days. They nodded eagerly when buying, followed my lead exactly. But when the stocks rose, both hesitated, especially Olivia. She was dreaming of changing her life, gathering capital for her boyfriend's company. A few days later, I urged Alex almost hourly. Cut it, don't hold, I wrote, sounding urgent. Through the bug, I knew they were calling each other constantly, fiddling with charts, thinking they were smarter than me. After 3 days of limit-down crashes, they blamed each other, regretted it, and finally sold off, but still made a profit. Perfect. Now they had more cash than ever, but were also more vulnerable than ever. I smiled when Olivia called me about blockchain. Her voice was eager, like a child seeing candy. I replied casually, I don't know much. Heard it's good. Connected to Bitcoin. You know Bitcoin, right? Blockchain is its base. Why? She laughed coyly. A friend of mine works in this, says it's a gold mine. I laughed along, sounding carefree. Impressive. Only pros dare to play blockchain. Introduce me someday. Olivia quickly refused. Not that close. I smirked, didn't press. The bait was deep. I didn't need to force it. The bug in Alex's wallet was still working. I had secretly recharged it once the week before. Every move between Alex and Olivia, I knew. Olivia claimed her house near the tourist area needed repairs, borrowing $200,000 from Alex, promising to repay in 6 months, 1 year at most, with 1% interest per month. She said she wanted to expand it, turn it into an Airbnb. Alex hesitated, but Olivia coaxed and pleaded, her voice sweet as honey. In the end, he agreed, with one condition. From now on, whenever I want, you have to be there. That evening, when Alex went to shower, water running loud, I opened his wallet, pulled the bug out. I stepped into the guest bathroom, tossed it into the toilet, flushed. The whirlpool washed it all away, like I wanted to erase the days of being deceived. The device had been useful, but it was also a risk. I didn't need it anymore. I had everything I wanted. Days before Christmas, the stock market blazed like fire, tickers soaring, the board glowing green with victory. I kept urging Alex and his friends to buy in. They made plenty, happy enough to flood me with teasing texts, calling me Queen Emily. Alex, on the other hand, kept promising, I bought. But his eyes betrayed the pain, as if every dollar was being ripped from his flesh. I pretended not to notice, each day still flaunting the K-line charts, sighing over the profits. Deep down, I was sure he had given all his money to his mistress. Out of curiosity, I tried logging into his trading account, and just as I suspected, the password had been changed. Clearly he was guarding against me, not wanting me to know the truth. He was broke. I stayed calm, acting oblivious, on the surface cheerful, discussing with the wedding planners every decoration detail, every song, every flower. The wedding day came. From the morning makeup to entering the hotel, everything was flawless. Guests arrived one after another, the atmosphere grand and lively. Alex and I stood at the entrance, shaking hands with each guest. Near noon, I made an excuse to touch up my makeup, quietly slipped away from the hall, stepped into the restroom, and sat waiting, heart pounding. Everything had been arranged in advance. 5 minutes later, my best friend happened to look for me, couldn't find me, and then called Olivia into the bridal lounge to search. Olivia's maid of honor dress had already been tampered with by me the day before, so it no longer fit. Even adhesive bras couldn't save it, leaving her chest slightly exposed, looking both bare and sloppy. All morning, she had been adjusting herself every few minutes, glancing in mirrors, hands fussing with her neckline, flaunting the one thing she always considered her greatest weapon. Around her neck, a string of red crystals glistened, and every time she moved, her cleavage showed even more. No wonder Alex had been sneaking hungry glances. I knew once she was in the lounge, with her vanity, she'd surely spend time fixing herself, staring into the mirror. And just as planned, minutes before the ceremony began, someone would fetch Alex with the news that I had disappeared. Inside the lounge, my phone was planted, synced to the big screen outside, ready to stream the behind-the-scenes clip. I sat waiting in the restroom until my friend texted, "Go to the hall." Just 3 words. I knew the plan had worked, and it worked in the hardest way, the one that needed the most luck, but also the most effective. In the hall, the big screen was showing glossy wedding photos of Alex and me. But right at that moment, the footage switched to another scene. 2 people locked in a deep kiss. For a few seconds, I could hear my own heartbeat, while the entire hall was silent, not even a breath. The man's back faced the camera, but his figure and suit were enough to show it was the groom, the star of the day. The woman's face was hidden, only a corner of a white dress visible. Instantly, every guest thought it was the bride. All eyes focused, then froze when they saw me walk in. I appeared at the entrance, radiant in my wedding gown. A spotlight shone directly on me, my best friend discreetly at the projector. I widened my eyes, pretending to be stunned at the screen, lips trembling like I couldn't believe it. According to the script, I was supposed to cry, but not a single tear came. I had imagined this moment countless times, but when it truly happened, I felt only calm. I staggered forward a few steps, feigning shock, nearly collapsing, nearby guests rushing to catch me. In the lounge, Alex and Olivia were still tangled up, unaware of what was unfolding outside. Then, as they shifted, their faces came fully into view on the giant screen. Olivia's eyes were dreamy. Alex's hand cupped her chest. Murmurs broke out, until one of Alex's friends panicked, pulling out his phone to call him. Alex, still panting, answered, "Coming out soon." But the voice on the line screamed, "Stop! There's a camera in the room!" Only then did they realize. Olivia shrieked in panic, scrambling around, making the footage shake violently before cutting off. The grand hall was dead silent, some guests raising their phones to record, others staring at me with pity. I drew a deep breath, strode toward the lounge, playing my role as the betrayed woman. Inside, Alex's father roared, "What the hell are you doing?" and kicked him hard in the shin. The crack of impact made even me wince. Alex howled, panic on his face. Olivia's hair was a mess, crumpled on the floor, makeup smeared, sobbing miserably. I stood in the doorway, frowned, my voice cold. Utterly shameful. Divorce me. Alex's mother rushed forward, pleading, while his father landed another furious kick, his face red with pain and disgrace. I stayed silent, looking at Alex with pity. I knew, just seconds more, and he would show his true face, and sure enough, he lifted his head and screamed, "Fine, divorce then! What are you besides money? That's all you're good for! I'll divorce you now. I don't need a damn cent!" Then he clung to Olivia, shouting, "She is the only true love of my life." His friends, who had been watching like it was theater, all spoke up. "Thompson, this time you've gone too far. We can ignore fooling around outside, but on the wedding day, unforgivable. And don't say you don't need money. All these years, who's been paying? Emily, houses, furniture, she bought it all. You gave everything to her. Don't be so ungrateful." Their words scolded, but their eyes flicked toward me, hinting, "We still need you to guide us in stocks." I understood immediately. It was all about interest. Before Christmas, I had told them to sell everything, wait until after the holiday to buy. Without me, they lost their source. Alex's parents were pale. His father turned away, too ashamed to salvage it, silently agreeing to let his son walk away. But why let the play end so soon? The clip had already been uploaded to TikTok. Whispers rose. "These two are about to go viral." Alex shrank, clutching Olivia, pretending to shield her. But when Olivia heard the word viral, she shoved him off, rushing into the crowd, grabbing a phone, streaming the clip. One glance, and her face drained white. She staggered back, trembling as she called, "Mr. Lambert, it's Hayes. That video online, I can explain. I was forced. I only knew the bride, not the groom." This time, Alex froze, staring at her in disbelief. Guests burst into clapping, chuckling, turning into the audience of a farce. The groom cheating with the maid of honor at his own wedding, declaring her his true love, only to be exposed as a woman with a fiancé already. Olivia wailed in despair. "What about my $400,000? I won't invest anymore. Hello, Lambert." Alex's face flushed red, lunged to grab her shoulders. $400,000? You said it was for renovations. Who the hell is Lambert? Alex's friends swarmed in, shouting, "Where's the money? Where's the money?" The room was chaos. Finally, someone called 911. My wedding ended with the police arriving. Olivia, Alex, and his friends were all taken in for questioning. Alex's parents stayed behind, humiliated, forced to pay the entire wedding bill. Olivia's dream of wealth shattered like glass. The money in question totaled $480,000. $200,000 from Alex, $150,000 Olivia's own. $50,000 borrowed from her ex, and the remaining $80,000 pooled from Alex's friends. Money really does matter. On the day of the divorce, Alex no longer cared about dignity, clutching a bouquet of roses as he knelt on one knee in front of the courthouse, his eyes red as he pleaded. Emily, I was just confused for a moment. The one I truly love is you. Can we start over? His voice trembled, his hands gripping the bouquet so tightly that petals fell one by one. I know I was wrong. Give me a chance. I'll spend my whole life making it up to you. I stood there, looking down at him, my heart as calm as a lake without ripples. I shook my head firmly, my voice cold. No. We're done. In the courtroom, the judge reviewed my evidence, the recordings, the videos, the financial statements, and declared that all the assets, including the house, belonged to me. Alex's face turned ashen, like burnt-out ashes. Finished. I walked out of court, golden sunlight falling across my shoulders, not with the joy of victory, but with relief, as if I had shrugged off an old heavy coat. After that, Alex lost his job. HR called him in, hoping he would resign on his own to avoid further tarnishing the company's reputation. Olivia was buried in debt, her career in ruins. Do you know I had a second plan to expose them at the wedding? It was the video I shot at the bar and the clips from the building's security cameras. I had edited them, ready to play at the reception. But if I had done that, everyone would have known it was me. It wouldn't have had the same shock as catching them in the act. I chose the other way, to let them reveal themselves, to let them collapse on their own. Life afterward flowed in peace. The house now belonged only to me, the breeze carrying the scent of flowers from the little garden. Every morning, I made coffee, sat by the old wooden table, flipped through my notebook filled with ideas for new articles. No more sleepless nights of doubt, no more afternoons waiting for false promises. I stepped into the garden, my hand brushing the leaves, feeling freedom spread through me like a cool stream, washing away all the old wounds. In those days, I learned to live alone, not in loneliness, but in wholeness, like trees stretching under the sun, needing no shelter. Back then, just a bottle of body wash out of place was enough to make my heart panic. But now, I can move an entire flower pot in the garden, and my heart remains at peace, light as the passing wind.